Curtis Calhoun here with MMA News. My next guest is another big fight coming up in PFL Europe. It's Dakota Ditcheva joining me again. How's it going, Dakota?
Everything's good, thank you. Yeah.
Obviously, it's been a crazy year for you. We talked a little bit off the air. I think the last time we spoke was right after your PFL debut win. Obviously, now in PFL Europe, picking up a couple of wins, getting ready for the semifinals. Just kind of summarize like what this past year has been like for you.
Oh, summarize it. It's been a bit wild, but it's been good. Yeah, I feel like I've had such a good year with PFL. I think I've had maybe two fights since. I think, and yeah, I'm close now to my semi final in Paris for the tournament, and everything's been going really well. Yeah, I feel like I'm in a completely different place to this time last year, which is amazing for me. So yeah.
And in terms of like a different place, like what do you mean like that? Like in terms of your career, your life, or kind of all the above?
All of it really, yeah. Like, I mean, money wise, signing with PFL kind of changed my life that way. Doing my camps here in America again. I've managed to get here and do a full camp. And just like as an overall athlete, I feel like I've progressed so much. Obviously, I got a submission win last time, which shocked a lot of people. So I've been able to like show that part of my game a little bit. But yeah, I've just kind of grown so much as a person. Just having experiences through this sport and just life in general. So yeah.
I was about to ask you about that. Like after your last win, everybody was so shocked, like media fans and all that, with your submission win. But last time we talked about all the work you were putting in, all facets of your game. Like, did that surprise you at all in terms of just like the aftermath of that submission win? Everybody was so surprised and all that.
I was a little bit surprised, but then I wasn't at the same time. Like, I knew obviously I've been working on my whole game. I'm in no denial that I'm a striker and I need to work on them areas. So like I was shocked people weren't, up to date with the fact that I will be working on all that stuff. Like it's just that I haven't had chance to show it or haven't needed to show it yet. So so yeah, but it was nice to shock a few people, I'll always be a striker, I'll always want a knockout over a submission, I think. But it was just a big point in my career, I feel like, to shock a few people that way, yeah.
What has it been like for you, obviously getting all this added attention, you and Simeon Powell, who I'm going to speak to next week, kind of being somewhat of the faces of PFL Europe right now? Like, what has it been like dealing with all the added attention and media and all that?
Yeah, I mean, if I take it back to that fight in March this year, where we kicked off the PFL Europe tournament, me and Simeon were like main event and co-main event, and it was a lot. I went through a load of different emotions that I hadn't had yet. Even though like I'm not a nobody, but I feel like I'm still really low down. I felt like it was a big thing. Like my face was everywhere on all the posters, and everyone was talking about me and Simeon. And fight week, there was just these loads of new emotions that I hadn't kind of gone through yet. But obviously, this is so big for me to get used to. Like it's amazing that PFL are giving us these opportunities because this is all part of the game. You can't just get in and fight anymore. It's like it's entertainment, right? So you've got to do everything else that comes with it. And I feel like I'm growing and I'm getting used to it bit by bit. So I think the fight in March might help me a little bit this time when I go to Paris in September, and then it'll help me again for the finals. So yeah, I'm just taking each day as it comes at the moment.
Has it been kind of an adjustment for you, like in terms of the PFL format now being in kind of a season tournament format? Because obviously, I know you like to stay active and fight as much as you can, but has it been kind of an adjustment for you, like having more and more time in between fights like this?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest gap I've had between fights for a long time. Last year I fought four times, so I didn't really have much distance between each one. And I am just the type of person that will get straight back to training anyway. I don't like to have a big layoff and then just train for the camp. I'm always like in the gym and working and stuff. So the big gap, I've been a little bit like I felt a little bit lost at a certain point before I came here to the States. But yeah, I mean, the format is kind of similar to me fighting regularly normally anyway. But I think the emotions of like knowing I'm through to the next round is what's different for me. It's not over yet. Like normally when I just have a straight fight, it's done. and you go on to the next one. Whereas I feel like it's all dragging, it's still going. Like the emotions from March are still, coming for the next round. And then when I've won this one, it'll kind of keep going until Paris and then it'll end, I think. So it's just been a little bit different like that, I think.
How do you feel like PFL Europe has been received by the fans over on that continent? Because obviously it's still PFL Europe in itself is kind of still young in its infancy per se. Like how has it been kind of received from the fans and media and all that?
Yeah, I feel like they've picked up so much support, to be honest. I think the good thing that they've done is picked up a load of new young talent that people want to see on the stage, and that's kind of the area that people were missing. You either get left like in the shadows until you get to the big stages, or you do something like what PFL has done and brought all the attention to the young up and coming killers that are gonna make it. So I feel like it's picking up a lot of attention. And September in Paris is sold out now. Everyone's struggling for tickets. Even some of my fans, they didn't get tickets because everything had sold out before they bought it. So it just shows how well they're doing and how quick they're moving with the support.
And the PFL is still kind of in the process of building that women's flyweight division. Obviously, we got a lot of fights taking place over here stateside. Have you been paying attention to some of the other flyweight fights going on in the PFL US season and all that? And what are some fights that have kind of stood out for you?
Yeah, of course. I've been watching them, and being here in the States, I've been able to watch it in real time without having to like stay up till 3 in the morning in the UK. So it's been nice. But yeah, I do keep my eye out on a few, just to see what kind of girls they're pulling in and stuff. And I mean, I'd love to do like the £1 million tournament next year if we get enough competition. I think it'd be amazing. Like our division, there is a lot of girls at 125, so I don't think we'd struggle with building a full tournament for us. And some of the fights that I've watched on the other cards they've been all right. Yeah, they've been okay. So yeah, I feel like if they were to do a big tournament, it definitely work for us.
I want to ask you a little bit about that. Like, have you heard anything in terms of the PFL's plans for next year, possibly adding a full flyweight division, or are you aware of anything like that? What's kind of the plan as of right now?
I mean, I speak to them all the time and ask them, we're going to do the £1 million next year and, stuff like that. So sometimes they're like, yeah, I think we're going to do it, but there's nothing 100%, nothing's confirmed. But I feel like PFL Europe has done so well, and we're only on like the second round now, but it's doing so well already. So hopefully, they'll want to keep it progressing and stuff. So I feel like the only tournament they've got on the state side is Pacheco's division for the girls, So I feel like it would be good to bring in a completely like newer one. They had a 155 and then they had a 145, but it was a few of the girls crossed over. So I feel like a completely new division would be really good. So hopefully they will do that. But if not, I mean, I'm half Bulgarian, so I would like to stay in PFL and maybe take it there one day. I don't know. So I'm kind of torn between the £1 million and going to Bulgaria is a bit of a tie for me. But it's just amazing that I'm in this position and I've got all these options, and I'm thinking about all different stuff. So it's nice to be in this position because I've worked hard to be here now.
No doubt about it. And I want to switch gears a little bit here. I saw on your Instagram you posted a little bit about how over the last year you've kind of really taken a step out of your comfort zone a little bit more, like in your life and your career and all that. Can you kind of just expand on that and just kind of give us a few examples of some ways that you've kind of challenged yourself over the last year?
Yeah, I mean, the first one I would say, so this time last year, the end of August, I think it was August the 20th, was my PFL debut. So I was here at this time last year with no money in my account. I had like 3-4 grand's worth of debt with my mum and dad. They won't call it debt because they would never make me like pay it back if I couldn't. But I came over here for I was in a bad place at home. I felt a little bit lost with where I was going in my career. I was winning and getting, a few different I was fighting on a few different promotions, but I didn't have a signed contract with a certain, organization where I felt like I was building a bit of momentum. So I was a little bit lost. And then at home, I had a lot of things going on, and I just booked a 4 week trip to the States with not that much money in my account, just to do a little bit of training and change things up a little bit. And I ended up borrowing money off my mum and dad to stay here for the rest of my camp and finish it before I had a PFL debut back in the UK. So then fast forward a year, I'm here again at the same time. I've got money in my account, I'm doing really well. I feel like I've built a load of following in the PFL. I feel like I've got a bit of direction and my goals are like set of what I want to do this year, obviously to win the PFL Europe tournament. And, you know, I feel like I wouldn't be here if I hadn't stepped out of that comfort zone, of like I've been really dependent on my mum, I think, as a coach, because she's always been my head coach. I've always relied on her a little bit. Wherever I've gone to train, she's gone with me. So stepping out that comfort zone last year and coming here on my own just opened up a whole new world to me now. And I mean, I don't like to say it, but I don't feel like the UK is home anymore. I feel like my life could possibly be here at American Top Team, and I feel like there's a lot of different opportunities, and just I feel like my life has progressed so much making that little change. So yeah, I'm just, if I was to give any advice to anyone, it would be step out your comfort zone and don't do what you used to, because it changed my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, because a lot of young fighters are kind of in, obviously not a same situation as you, but a similar situation in terms of those early struggles financially, personally, and all that, getting your career ramped up. Like, what would you say are some of the most important things that young fighters should take into account to really grow their career and turn things around in their life too?
Yeah, I think at the beginning you have to accept the fact that you're not going to have much money. You have to accept that in this sport. I've been years and years and years like watching my friends have normal jobs and a secure monthly wage coming in all the time, and I've been like, oh, am I going to make it through this month? Am I not? Do I need to ask my mum for money? Do I not? You've got to kind of, I feel like a lot of the top fighters have all come out and give interviews and said the same thing, that they struggled. You have to, but you have to see the bigger picture. You have to always remember your goals and your dreams and just keep going for it. And that's kind of the best advice that I'd say, is just to stick with it and keep going, keep pushing all the time. And things will get better.
One last question for me. Once again, I really do appreciate the time. It's great to catch up with you and chat with you. Just kind of give us your final thoughts on the fight coming up. Obviously, it's a big one in the semifinals. What kind of performance and what kind of fight can your fans expect when they get to watch you enter the PFL cage again?
I mean, I always say you can expect a good like striking match when you've got two strikers together, but I say that every time and they don't bring too much. So we'll see, We've got two strikers again facing each other in the cage. So I'm hoping for a good old, scrap after such a long time since March. But you can just expect dominance from me. That's what I'm going in to do. In and out and ready to go to Ireland.
Well, before we wrap things up here, I'll give it the final word to shout out your team, fans back home, family, all that good stuff. I'll give it the final word.
Yeah, thank you so much for speaking today. But obviously to my family for helping me get here, to American Top Team for an amazing camp, and then all my sponsors as well that have supported me, because they are the guys that keep it going for me all the time. So yeah.
All the best with these final few weeks of camp. And it was great to chat with you once again and catch up a little bit, pick your brain. And thank you again for the time. Really do appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.